Hey guys, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel. Welcome back to part 2 of our top 10 TV shows of all time. Now, last episode we talked about 10 movies each. 10 movies.
Yeah.
10, not movies.
TV
10
shows.
TV shows.
There it is.
Man, that's going to be tough, man. So we're just going to run through our lists again and what we talked about. And then we'll hop into 4 to 1 with 4 more honorable mentions. So, Ashton, why don't you run through your list first?
Cool. So, my 10 to 5 started with Jessica Jones at number 10, Defending Jacob at number 9, Schitt's Creek at number 8.
What you call me?
Wait a sec.
Never mind.
The Orville at number 7, Once Upon a Time at 6, and Letterkenny at 5.
And I had 10 with Modern Love, 9 with Yellowstone, 8 with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, 7 with The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, 6 with Video Game High School, and 5 with The Big Bang Theory. Ashton, why don't you start off with your honorable mention and then we can go in. You go into honorable mention, I'll go into mine, and then we can go with number 4.
Cool.
Right? Yeah, number 4.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at. Dope. So my next honorable mention, for anyone else who was a teenager in 2014, you will, or 2011 to 2014, I think, you will appreciate this. The show went pretty viral, and it's close to my heart because this is a show I watched, one of the first more adult-themed shows I was able to watch with the rest of my family, including my grandmother, actually. She's into murder mysteries. I think I already gave kind of what this show is away. Sherlock. So, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. This is an awesome show. If you're into any sort of like BBC shows, this is probably my favorite BBC show out there.
It's really good.
It's really good. It gives like a modern take on Sherlock. So if he was like in the 21st century, and Benedict Cumberbatch, this is kind of what kicked off his career in a big way, I'd say. He does such an amazing job. And same with Martin Freeman. Like the acting is on par. All the story arcs are like just from the books, but they modify them obviously to fit in with just the modern society we live in, and it's pretty great. I love this show, and I know that there's a lot of other people out there who are hardcore about it too. Again, one of my most memorable, and honestly one of my most impactful during my early teen years. Boom. Number 1 honorable mention right there.
Sherlock's such a good show.
It is.
I just I remember like, who's this Benedict Cumberbatch guy? And I'm like, oh yeah, now I know who he is. But sure, like Ashton said, Sherlock made him huge, and now he's everywhere.
Yep.
And we can't get him out. Man,
he doesn't stop invading my dreams. I need help.
So my next honorable mention is a comedy show on Apple TV Plus. It's a sports show, and that show is Ted Lasso. So Ted Lasso has Jason Sudeikis as this like American football coach who goes to England to become a football coach. Different type of football. He goes to England to become a soccer coach, and he brings this really positive attitude to the team. When the team was like almost going, when the team was almost gonna like fall apart and like disband, he came in at the right time, and he much saved the team. This show works really well because of the cast. I don't know their names right now, but just the way they all work together, the chemistry is amazing. The soccer scenes, like when they're like during the games, probably some of the best soccer you've seen in like TV or movies, just because of the way it's shot, and the CGI. So like they CGI almost the entire stadium, and it's just really good. So like I said, Jason Sudeikis is in this. Hannah Waddingham plays Rebecca. Brett Goldstein plays Roy, and Juno Temple plays Keely. And those 4 are the main cast. And I really love the relationship between Rebecca and Ted Lasso, just because they're 2 very different people. Like Rebecca's like this, no, we can't do it. We're not gonna win. And Ted's like, yeah, we're gonna win in a big way. And I think the way this show is written, it really works with everyone just doing their job. Yeah, that's my next honorable mention. Actually, why don't we go? It's one more honorable mention, then we'll do 4 and 3.
Cool. Yeah. So my next honorable mention is going to be another British show while we're on the subject. If you grew up at all loving cars or had a family member like a dad, grandfather, mother, grandmother, I don't know, just anyone who loves cars, they probably watch this show a lot too. Top Gear. This is just, man, it screams like just British humor. It has Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard Hammond as just the 3 co-hosts. I mean, at least the earlier seasons before that cast got kicked off and started the Grand Tour, which is sort of their new thing that they've been doing. It's just such a nostalgic show. I love especially those episodes because they do a lot of things in that show. They'll get celebrities to go around their car track, or they will travel to these super obscure places with just the weirdest like cars that you could imagine and just try to make it through. They have such great chemistry. They play on each other all the time. They prank each other all the time. They roast each other all the time, and it's just awesome. It's not like a boring like car show to watch if you're an enthusiast. Like, it will keep you entertained. And it's honestly something that I can watch with my family and we can all bond over. I've watched this too with just other people that I care about, and other people that are into cars as well, and it's a great bonding experience as well. So Top Gear. Most of you have probably seen it. If you haven't, watch it. You've definitely seen memes from it though.
Yes. Sometimes my genius is almost what a wolf's line. Sometimes my genius. Sometimes
my genius. Oh shoot,
dude!
Why are we mind farting this much?
We are clearly not geniuses.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
It's the week before reading break. We get an excuse.
Yeah. Since we're talking about cars, and like really nice cars, my next honorable mention is Formula One Drive to Survive on Netflix. I currently have not finished. I'm not caught up on season 4, I believe, but man, no, this show like hooked me in right away. I love cars, and I love specifically F1 cars. And when I heard this was coming out, I'm like, yeah, might have to. Yeah, I just love the way that they like. I love how open the drivers are.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of like shows like this where like the drivers are so transparent and they're like, yeah, I sucked, or like, yeah, I hope that guy crashes. But they don't say that, but like they paraphrase. And the way that they don't focus on like the big teams like Red Bull or like McLaren or like Mercedes. They talk about Haas and Race India and those other teams that I forgot because they're not very popular. But I just love the way how we get behind the scenes of like how these cars work. And the best part of the show is the drivers and the personalities and actually the managers as well, like the team reps, and how like I said, they're very transparent. Like they don't hold much back on the camera. And I think we need more shows like this just because I feel like it's really good to get people into the sport.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have started watching F1 because of this show. I'm a big hockey guy, so I watched the NHL did something like this. They did it a little bit with the Amazon Prime All or Nothing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the Toronto Maple Leafs suck. So, I mean, they haven't made it past round 1 in how many years? Since 2004, so, you know. Do a different team. Do the Canucks. Please.
It'd be even worse, though.
Yeah, but at least we make it past round 1. I'm get wrecked. Yeah, I know. Formula 1, Drive to Survive. Ashton, why don't we go into 3 and 4 now?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
These are the big shows.
So yeah, I just switched out my number 4. So it's fairly new and clear in my head. Ashton, why don't you go first?
Okay. This next show.
Wait, Ashton, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh yeah.
I need a drink.
Good call.
So let's crack open these nice icy cans of Coca-Cola original taste, or Go Rico Original. Delicious and refreshing. Delicioso refreshing. I can't speak French. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, baby.
Good soup.
Good soup. Really chemically 39 grams of sugar soup. Oh gosh.
Don't die.
Wrong pipe.
Cool.
Oh gosh. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so this show that I'm talking about next, and hopefully Nat makes it to his fourth as well.
I'm dying.
The show that I'm gonna talk about is one that is a bit of me and Nat have had some overlap with.
Nat and I.
So, Nat, thanks, Grandma. In the last episode, Nat and I had some overlap with this. But if you're just listening to this episode for some reason,
what are you doing?
What the heck are you doing? Go back and listen to the other one and then listen to this one. Yeah, so this show that I'm going to mention is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This is, like, honestly, like, it's made it this far up in the list, obviously, because it is one of my favorite shows.
It's just a good show.
It's a good show. This show caught me by surprise. So, at first, I went into this right after binging, like, things like Parks and Rec and The Office, and, it's like another NBC sitcom. So, it's like, okay, what's this going to be like? And just by the time I finished season 1, I was, like, so hooked, so ready.
Yeah, man.
I think I binged the first 5 seasons, because I started watching when when season 5 had just come out. I binged this in, like, a week, like, all those 5, and it hooks you. The humor is great. I think the show's also able to deal with a lot of sensitive topics as well. Like, some big themes are, like, race equality, and that's something that you'd want to see from sort of like a police-oriented TV show. And then there's also things like LGBTQ rights. That's another big theme that the show really showcases pretty well. And I just overall enjoyed the humor. Andy Samberg is so funny as well.
Yeah, man.
And honestly, I think this is his best character from movies that I've seen with him in it. Hot Rod was really good.
Yeah.
Palm Springs was pretty good too. But when I think of Andy Samberg, I'm always going to think of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I mean, he went straight off SNL to do Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
And this was, like, the height of his career. And then the show just became his baby. And, he brought a lot of, like, guest stars into it because of, like, a lot of SNL alum, like Bill Hader.
Yep.
Why is that the only thing I'm remembering right now? Sterling K. Brown was in it. And, man, I'm blanking on names right now, but you know what I mean. A lot of people have seen this, so I'm going to assume a lot of people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's also a show that because it's so popular, a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
I can start talking about it, and I know people are going to know what I'm talking about. Like, people my age, at least.
Yeah, and like Ashton said, like, this is a very topical show, and when, I remember when the George Floyd thing happened, they actually tackled that, like, 2 weeks after that happened on the show.
Yeah.
And, like, I thought that was really important to bring that up because it was police brutality and, it's a show about policemen and policewomen and, the rights that, people get. And, they even had COVID episodes with masks on.
That was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, that was a funny episode. And, yeah, man. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I like I said, I had it on my list, too. It's just a really good show.
It's so good. And, yeah, honestly, when season 7, that finale hit, I was so sad.
Yeah, man.
I was like, man, they really just ended off one of the best shows of, like, the 2010s into early 2020s. And, I mean, I was a little disappointed that season 7 wasn't as long as the previous seasons, but I also understand why. But, yeah, great show. That's my number 4.
Yeah, it'll probably stand the test of time.
100%.
This show's so, like, rewatchable. Like, I'm gonna start rewatching it probably, like, next month.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't, what are you doing? If you have, watch it again. Yeah. For my number 4, we're gonna go in from comedy to a very powerful, dramatic TV show, and that is This Is Us. This Is Us is a story about mainly the Pearson family and just like everything that they've been through. It stars okay, here we go. Milo Ventimiglia. Sure, we're gonna Sterling K. Brown, Chrissy Metz, Mandy Moore, Justin Hartley, and you guys, this cast is stacked. It even has Jennifer Morrison from the aforementioned Once Upon a Time, and like this show is probably the only TV show to like make me cry.
Dang.
And just because like they deal with family issues, and like I love my family, so like some of the things that like they portray on here, like yeah, I've been through that, or like yeah, I can see that happening with my family, and it's a really beautiful show. Probably some of the best writing in TV in a very long time. It came out in 2016. Has 6 seasons as of right now, and renewed for a 7th. And I can't wait because I'm all caught up. And the way that they tell stories, it's kind of like Love Actually, when they have like independent stories and like they'll converge. Like they can show you something in Vietnam, and then shows you something in like California and New York, and somehow it's all connected to this one family. And the performances by Sterling K. Brown, Mandy Moore, and Justin Hartley, those are probably the 3 main. Oh, and Milo Ventimiglia, sure. And those 4, are the standout for me just because they have the most screen time, and the way that they just break down crying. Like the best part of the show is the crying and the emotional moments, because like this is not like dramatized stuff. I'm quite sure this has happened in a lot of families. It happens, and the show deals with a lot more like human rights, like human trafficking at one point, abortion, gay rights, LGBTQ issues, Black Lives Matter when that happened, and it's just probably one of the most like it's like we say that like Watchmen and like other shows are hard to watch, but this one will emotionally drain you just because of everything it shows. Like it doesn't show anything graphic, and nothing graphic, but just like watching people who are so relatable break down and like spiral out of control because of mental health and loss. It's there's something very beautiful about it, but also gut wrenching just because, very relatable. And one more thing I want to talk about is the music. I forgot who composed it, but it's mostly piano, and the way that like the piano sets this tone for a scene, it's like opera. I want to say it's opera because there's just this quiet like melodic piano in the background, and then people are yelling and people are crying, and it's so good. It's so good. If you haven't watched This Is Us, it's currently, I believe, on Netflix, but it's also on ABC. Yes, and Peacock. It's on Peacock if you have Peacock.
Nice.
That's in the States. So, yeah, This Is Us is my number 4.
Cool.
Okay, so for number 3 and 2.
These are fun.
Ashton and I are going to talk together about this because our number 3 and 2 are exactly the same.
Yep.
Exactly the same shows. We were thinking they're interchangeable for me. Maybe one. Only reason why we put one above the other is because the show that we're going to talk about now has a really bad ending. After 9 seasons, I wanted to smash my TV. And that show is How I Met Your Mother. Man, that was actually very good.
That was really good.
That was really insane.
That was really good.
So How I Met Your Mother is a show about Ted Mosby telling his children about how he met the mother.
R.I.P. Bob Saget.
R.I.P. Bob Saget, man. Dude. Oh, man. Asher, why don't you tell the folks why you love this show?
Okay, so I didn't actually keep up with this show when it was on TV. I just binged it all last spring. I think like within a week I'd finished all 9 seasons. I was going through some stuff then, man. But yeah, so this show, I love it just because I love the whole friend dynamic that's showcased in this. I know like there's a lot of like, if you really look into it, like, yeah, a lot of that stuff is toxic and a lot of it is just whatever. But just the way that the show carries on and portrays everything, and how, you know, like, all the characters are developed, it's really cool. Also the humor, dude, like, it's such a quotable show as well.
It's pretty quotable.
They nailed down the casting for this show, too.
The cast includes Josh Radnor as Ted Mosby, Neil Patrick Harris, who is probably my favorite character, in Barney Stinson, Jason Segel as Marshall Erickson, Allison Hannigan, a comedic, like, powerhouse, as Lily Aldrin, Colby Smulders as Robin Schabotsky, who is from Vancouver. Woo woo! So,
represent.
Yeah, and Kristen Milioti as the mother. And this has a lot of, like, big, like, guest stars. We're mentioning Jennifer Morrison in a lot of the series, but she's also in the show. William Zabka, who played himself in the show. Also mentioned him in Cobra Kai, and, like, they brought a lot of their spouses into the show as well. Bryan Cranston's in this. I totally forgot he was in this.
Oh yeah.
Ashley Williams, who plays probably one of my favorite characters in Victoria. Yeah, I know this cast. The way that they work off each other. Okay, I know I said that sentence a lot, but the best thing about TV shows is just watching characters, like, be characters, being real people and feeling like real people. Now this show is pretty comedic, like, if not all comedic, but man, when you bring in these five, like, the big five actors who, like, carry the show, like, you can understand why, because these are five very funny people, and who act very differently. all five characters are very different in their personality, but dude, it's some of the funniest stuff I've seen in a very long time.
You can tell they also just have that chemistry in real life too.
Yeah,
like, they just get along so well, and they can bounce off of each other so well.
Yeah, if you see interviews, man, like, they're like best friends.
Yeah, or even some of the other shorts that they've done for promos for this show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great, and, like, just their ability to portray the characters in a way where you don't really know the character from the actor. That's a sign that you're doing the character a really good job, at least.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about, Ashton, is let's talk about the ending.
Oh boy.
So this is a spoiler warning for anyone who has not seen the show and is wanting to watch the end of the show. We will be spoiling all of it. So here's your warning. Beep 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 beep. Okay, here we go. So in season 9, it's pretty much spent there's like 23 episodes. 23? Let's say it's 23.
I think so.
Episodes of watching Robin and Barney getting married, or leading up to their wedding day.
Yep.
And this is big because they have been on and off again for a very long time, like Ted and Robin as well. Mm-hmm. And we spent so much time. We spent 23 episodes being invested in this marriage, and then in episode 24, the series finale, they get divorced.
Yeah.
Like 3 years of marriage, and they get divorced, and that was just a gut punch for the audience, because it's like they're emotionally attacking us. We were attached to this couple.
We weren't ready.
Oh my gosh. And then, actually, I want to say a little bit more.
Yeah. So with what happened there, I think the big problem was they wanted to make the season finale a shocker. They wanted people to talk about it, which they did. They'd planned aspects of the season finale years in advance, but I think some of this stuff they just kind of threw in, like Barney and
they wrote themselves into a wall.
Yeah,
because they filmed all, like, the original, like, the last scene, like, in season 2, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
So they really wrote themselves into a wall, and that didn't give themselves much breathing room to do anything.
They knew what they had to do, but then they'd also written the show to a point where it just made sense for Barney and Robin to get married. But they didn't, like, in the past when they had broken up, there was a good reason as to why they broke up.
Yeah.
And you could understand that. You could just figure out, like, them together are not a good match. And this show, or like what this show did in this season finale, was it just played off of what they'd done before instead of bringing in like a new conflict as to why they had to break up again, just so that they could end it off with Robin and Ted getting married all those years later. Or,
yes.
I mean, it's implied that they'll get married all those years later, but like getting together.
And then to kick it all off, the mother dies.
Yeah.
So we get like one episode of watching Christian Milioti be the mother, and we fall in love with her as Tracy. I can't remember her name. Tracy
Morgan.
No. Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
No, I don't remember.
I forget.
It doesn't matter. Tracy, and you know
Tracy Mosby.
Sure, and yeah, no, like we fall in love with this character, and then in the last episode they kill her off.
Yeah.
With an unknown disease.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna assume it's cancer. Because usually it is leukemia. Yeah, honestly, and we didn't need that. We did not need like. We watched 9 seasons of watching this guy fall in love with hundreds of girls to find out that the girl that he finally married dies. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, that's so messed up. And I remember when that happened, people were, there was outrage online, man.
People were so upset.
Dude, Reddit was going off.
Man, some people even did all these cuts where they just removed all that. Like, all the extra, like, Robin and Ted getting back together and then Tracy dying.
It's a lot better.
And they just kept it as... And it works so well where they just keep it seamless to the end, where it's implied that they have more of a happy ending.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe it, man.
I respect them for trying to make this a little more of a realistic, emotional experience, but that's not really what the show is, and that's...
It's comedy.
It's comedy, and again, we got so invested with Ted's character. He's a tragic character, and like when we finally have peace with him finding the perfect woman, all of a sudden they take that away and just make him more tragic, and it's... I can't handle this crap, dude.
The show was really good for 9 seasons.
Yeah.
Until the last episode. Like, it jumped shark. And all this happens in the last, 15 minutes of the show.
Yeah, there isn't really any build-up to it.
No, it's just everything happens at once.
It's like, hey, so this happened in the voice of Bob Saget.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Also, that's the other thing that kind of annoyed me a little bit, was they show future Ted as not Bob Saget.
And his voice is completely different. And you're just kind of confused there. I don't even know if that's what they were planning on doing when they filmed those 2 scenes with the kids in season 2. It's actually crazy because the actors of the kids they knew, because they had to film a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
And a lot of their shots are recycled shots. They had to they knew what the season or the series finale was going to be. And they just held on till the end.
7-8 years, man.
Yeah.
The kids are played by Lindsay Forseca and David Henry. David Henry, who is from Wizards at Waverly Place. I can't remember his character's name. And Lindsay Forseca is from... She's from... Nikita, Never Stop Christmas, Hopped Up Time Machine. Yeah, so... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously one of our favorite shows, but it would have been higher if they finished strong. There's some, and we gotta point out that this show is, you can't make the show today.
Yeah.
There's some very, misogynistic and there's sexist things that happen in the show.
100%.
Man, I watched the show too young, man. Holy crap. But yeah, no, this show is... When it's good, it's really good. Yeah. When it's good, but that last 15 minutes of the series, man, I'm still mad.
I was not I knew that there was a lot of controversy behind it. Mm-hmm. I remember even one of my family members. I told Nat this story yesterday, but one of my family members was trying to get me into this show when it was when it was initially going on TV, and by the time the season finale came out, she was just like, "Oh, it's not worth it. Don't do that to yourself." And I love the show, except for that what they ended up doing in that last episode.
Yeah.
And another thing too is they wrapped up a lot of the inside jokes that they had. So that was a good thing about the season finale, I will say.
Yeah.
But then another thing that still kind of annoys me because it's so realistic and I hate it is, and I relate to it because I've been a part of a lot of this, is that they ended up kind of everyone in that friend group kind of went on their separate ways when they kind of started like families or whatever. They're not all hanging out together, which of course is expected to happen, but it just, man, you grow up, like you watch these characters grow together and they're always like in these tight-knit relationships with one another, and then they just like disconnect and don't see each other for a while. Like that's actually really sad too.
Yeah. And this and How I Met Your Mother also spawned How I Met Your Father, which is a new show that came out this year, with Hilary Duff. And actually, I saw the first episode. It's actually not bad. Like, it's pretty good, pretty faithful to the source material. Actually, anything else about How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, for the writers of How I Met Your Father, don't do that to us.
Please.
Don't.
Please no.
I feel like we talked a lot of smack about the finale, but again, it's just the finale.
It's just bad.
It's just, like, the finale's bad. It's just the finale,
the last,
though.
like, 15 to 20 minutes of the finale.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not even that bad, but, like, it's so bad that, like, 20 minutes ruined it.
Yeah.
And we watched, like, 9 seasons before that.
Yeah. And I don't want it to, like, ruin the whole show for anyone who's thinking of watching it. The rest of the show is great.
Yeah.
If you can deal with a lot of that humor, like, this is a good show.
You'll be quoting it when no one else knows what you're saying.
Don't let the finale ruin the whole show for you. But the finale's pretty bad, so just keep that in mind.
It's a legend. Wait for it. Dairy finale.
Oh, let's go.
So, yeah. Ashton, why don't we take a break?
Okay.
And then we'll talk about more honorable mentions. And then we'll finish off with our top 2 TV shows of all time.
Let's do it.
Okay, guys, enjoy the break. Enjoy a word from us. It's us, right? Yeah, it's us.
I think it's us. Yeah.
Great, enjoy it.
Dope.
See you guys. This episode of Nerds and Flannel is sponsored by Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm is the best place to make and record podcasts. We use it for every single episode. We absolutely love using Anchor. Very convenient. Doesn't cost us a thing. But recently we want to start making premium content for you guys. So that means we would have to like put it under a paywall. And in order to watch and listen to those videos, Ashton's going to tell you where to do that.
Yeah. So where you want to go if you want to support this podcast is anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Again, that is anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Huge shout out to anchor.fm for sponsoring this podcast and for being an awesome platform for whatever your podcast needs are.
Yes, thank you, Anchor. Oh my gosh, some of the comedy, like the references, like the quotes from it, like he's a transponster. That's not even a word. That's my favorite episode. The one with the embryos. Yeah, go figure. That's the name of my favorite episode of Friends. The one with the embryos. Anyways, this is like at the height of like just New York comedy. I have no idea why most sitcoms are set in New York. I just don't. Like, hey, set them to Vancouver.
That would be really dope.
Dude, we're funny here.
We're funny.
Do they not think Canadians are funny? Just tough.
Dang.
Guess we have to create our own sitcom.
We might have to.
How I Met Your... I don't know. How I Met Your Friend? I don't know.
So janky, but I want it now.
How I Met Your Friends from This Is Us and Big Noking. Okay. Friends! The iconic theme song, I'll be there for you when the rain starts. Yeah, you guys don't hear me sing. But like, yeah, there's something really charming about the show that like keeps people watching. Actually, I've been to the actual set on the Universal lot.
Wait, so you're telling me it's not actually in New York?
No, they lied.
Whoa.
They lied.
Oh.
It's all in LA.
Life is a lie.
Yeah, life is a lie. Anyways, yeah, no, I've actually been to the lot, and there's pictures on my Instagram of me and my friends at Central Perk, the coffee shop. And man, dude, like going into that, man, unforgettable. I was in the picture on my Instagram. I have like a pretty like small like smile, but dude, when I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh. And Chanel was there before we started dating, and I'm like, Chanel. She's like, what? It's the Friends coffee shop. It's Central Perk, and she's like, what's a Friends? So yeah, Friends. It stands the test of time because it's actually pretty PC for nowadays. There's not too much bad about it. It's just the characters are just terrible people. Same with Seinfeld. Actually, no, Seinfeld's worse. Friends, one of the best TV shows of all time. Just not my favorite. Doesn't have very many emotional moments that hit as hard as like other shows.
Yeah.
So that's why it's just not as high for me. Ashton, your next honorable mention.
Cool. This next honorable mention I'm gonna give kind of doesn't really fit in with the sitcom theme, but we'll just throw it in. It's a show that both Nat and I, did I say that one right?
Yes.
Just finished watching.
So if you take out the Nat and you say me and Nat, it's me watch the show. No, it's I watch the show.
Thanks, Grandma.
Yes.
Thanks, Grandma.
I learned that tip in high school.
So this show is one that we both just finished binging. And
oh, yes.
I mean, we didn't really binge it. We just watched the episodes as they came out.
Yes.
Definitely not one that I would recommend everyone watch.
Don't watch with the kids.
Don't watch with the kids. Peacemaker. Do you really want to taste that? Okay. So this is honestly a really big accomplishment of James Gunn. He's the guy that directed Guardians of the Galaxy, and like wrote all them too, and then also the new The Suicide Squad, not the first one, but the one that just came out in 2021. So this show follows Peacemaker, who is a character in that show, or in that movie, in The Suicide Squad, played by John Cena.
I should have known how to play that on the recorder.
Oh, true. Next time. And yeah, honestly, this show's just, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
Super funny. Crap ton of, like, just things that you definitely don't want to watch around the kids. It's also pretty, like, mature and violent.
Yeah, pretty violent. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. If you've seen The Suicide Squad, you kind of already know what to expect from this one. But worse. And especially that season finale for season 1. Because as we're recording this, only one season has come out. Season 2 was just confirmed to be approved. And then also there's another superhero show that James Gunn is going to work on. They actually filmed this show pretty locally, like literally 10 minutes away from my house. Even as I've driven by different areas, I've seen them like getting their production stuff ready or filming, and it's actually really cool. So, and it's a testament to how James Gunn can take like a nobody character, like what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and make him a really big deal. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it. If you are over the age of 18 and you've seen The Suicide Squad, and you're interested in that stuff, then check it out. If not, don't watch it. Like, just don't.
Yeah.
Even then, maybe you shouldn't watch. I'm just saying, this is a show I like. Cool.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sneezy. Sorry guys, if you hear me sneeze, I don't know why I'm sneezing so much. Oh my gosh, it's not the Rona, I swear.
He's allergic to that How I Met Your Mother finale.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, my eyes, I'm crying, my nose is stuffy. Okay, there we go. Okay, then my next honorable mention, my last honorable mention of the list. It's a 12 episode comedy series on Amazon Prime. It's called Fleabag. I cannot recommend this to everyone because it's pretty. When it came out, it was pretty controversial just because of the subject matter. It's about like mental health and like adultery and just suicide. That sounds dark, but it's mainly a comedy series. Stars Phoebe Waller-Bridges, who was in Solo, a Star Wars story. Andrew Scott, Brett Gelman, and just like British royalty. Olivia Colman. It's a British comedy. This show's so good. Written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It was based on like her like one woman show, I believe, and man, I'm so sneezy. I'm sorry. This show is probably it hooked me in right away. There's only 12 episodes, and you can binge this in a day, and you will feel satisfied just because it's much more emotional than you think. Like I said, it does bring up with like adultery and mental health, but like it's the performances that really portray like this real life story. Because this is actually kind of like based on a true life story by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It's so good. I don't want to say too much about it because I want you guys to go watch it and just like enjoy it. And yeah, I'm not gonna say more. Also, if you watch it, let me know because I don't know a lot of people who have watched the show. Ashton, have you seen the show?
No, I haven't.
You should watch it. It's good.
Dope.
Ashton, you're the last honorable mention, and then we move on to the top 2.
Okay, so this last honorable mention will make sense for my top pick, but it's a show worth calling out because it's good. So I mentioned, if you guys tuned into our like top 10 movies of all time, one of my honorable mentions in there was a Disney Star Wars movie. I'm gonna shout out a Disney Star Wars TV show. The best one, the one with the most things that I like to see in Star Wars, besides my top pick, of course, The Mandalorian.
The what?
The Mandalorian.
The what?
Mandalorian.
You mean the Book of Boba Fett?
Wait a sec. AKA the Book of Mandalorian 2.5.
Yeah, baby!
Oh, boy. So, this show, I think it caught everyone by surprise.
Yes.
In a few other Star Wars properties, they kind of expanded on this planet called Mandalore and the race that follows it, and it's such an engaging, almost relatable, like commentary on some things that we deal with here. So anyway. This story kind of this show alludes to that a little bit, but its main focus is on sort of this bounty hunter named Din Djarin, and played by Pedro Pascal. And he's kind of like a Boba Fett figure, but better, as we've seen in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, a lot better.
A lot better. Yeah, he's an awesome character. Gotta give a huge shout out to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for...
Good job, boys.
Yeah, good job.
We're proud of you.
We're very proud for working on this show together. They use a lot of practical effects, like the original trilogy. Yeah. Anything that they thought of as a cool thing to have in a scene, Jon Favreau always asked the question, is there a way to do this practically? And for, I think it was over 90% of the stuff that they did, it was a yes. Yeah. So I don't want to spoil the story too much if you haven't seen any of this. If you are just beginning, like, I don't know who hasn't heard of, like, Baby Yoda, aka Grogu yet, because he's, like, the most well-known Star Wars character aside from Darth Vader, I believe. Or maybe he is more popular than Vader. I forget.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So, but yeah, he's up there. Most people have seen his face on social media or pretty much anywhere. So I don't think that's a spoiler, but it's kind of like it has sort of this father-son dynamic where like Din Djarin as a bounty hunter has to deliver this child to the Empire, who's like, this happens after the events of Return of the Jedi. And he pretty much just falls in love in a way, has this fatherly love and affection towards Grogu. We find out his name in the second season. And
yeah, I hate it.
It's grown on me.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And it's awesome. And where they take it in season 2 kind of falls deeper into more Star Wars lore, which some people like, some people didn't like. It was very fan servicey, but season 1 was so cool because it showed a whole different side to Star Wars. And I really appreciated that. Yeah. Season 2 brought in more Clone Wars characters, and that was really cool to see. But Season 1 is just, it's so awesome. Start with that one, and if you're into it, go on to Season 2. And yeah, that is my final honorable mention.
Man, we have, man, so what have we done? We done, so 10 honorable mentions each plus 8. So we done, mental math, we done 18 each. So that's 36 movies.
TV shows.
TV shows. Oh my gosh. 36 TV shows. Wow, we're really nerds, huh?
We're really big nerds.
Yeah, we're really big nerds.
Yeah.
I don't care. So number 2, again, like How I Met Your Mother, we have the exact same show at number 2, but very different shows at number 1. Like very different shows at number 1.
Oh, 100%.
Ashton, why don't you tell them what our number 2, our second favorite TV show of all time is?
Okay, just give me a
hype
sec.
it up. Gotta hype it up.
I'm gonna hype it up.
Gotta hype it up.
So, if you're pretty... Okay, I don't even know how to hype this up.
Okay, I can do it. Okay.
Hype it up, and I'll play the theme song for it.
Okay. Imagine a world where paper does not exist. Imagine a world where you go to write something down, but it's like, what am I going to write on? Am I going to write on this table? Am I going to write on, like, the wall? You know, paper is an ordinary thing. And isn't that what's beautiful about life? Finding extraordinary things in ordinary things. I'm gonna keep going. And, you know how, like, you, like, have colleagues that are really weird, and you're like, this would make a really good TV show. Ashley, why don't you cue the music, and then we'll talk about it. That's right, it's The Office! Oh my gosh.
Boy.
So, man, we can talk about the show for a very long time.
Literally forever.
I think this is, like, everyone's favorite workplace comedy.
Yeah.
It was ranked number 1. The number 1 workplace comedy on Watch Mojo's top 10 workplace comedies of all time. Man, Ashley, why don't you start us off? Why don't you... Actually, wasn't that a good hype up?
That was a really good hype up.
I'm sorry. Okay, go.
Okay, so... I guess I can talk a little bit about my connection to this show. I was pretty much the first person in my friend group, at school at least, that got into this show in grade 10. This was kind of like 2016. This was the start, or no, sorry, it's 2015. This was the start of sort of people from my generation getting into the show and just kind of rejuvenating the interest for it. Mm-hmm. So I had recommended from another friend, and I watched this. I raved about it. Dude, I did like 0 homework throughout that whole period. I was just binging this show nonstop. And it just appealed to my awkward sense of humor so well. And I think a lot of our generation has that type of humor. And dude, it's so iconic. I got like everyone in my school like into it. I've rewatched this show. I'm not even kidding. All 9 seasons. I have rewatched 9 times. Man,
I think it's about the same for me.
Yo,
is there 10 seasons? Oh, there's 9. Never, I'm
9.
wrong. There's 9.
Yeah, and it's just so easy to put on while you're doing homework or while, like, if you just need something to watch, this is the show to put on.
Honestly, it sounds bad, but I put this on to fall asleep. It sounds bad, but
it's just so good. It can be used for for any use case. I remember even during a little bit of a scarier point in my life, I was staying up all night with my sister in the hospital, with my older sister in the hospital, and just I put on this show, and it was like, dude, all your problems just magically disappear for 20 minutes.
Yeah, actually, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the cast, Ashton, because I think the cast is probably something to... Dude, this cast. Okay. Steve Carell,
Yes.
Jenna Fisher.
Yes.
John Krasinski.
Yes.
Rainn Wilson.
Yes.
Ellie Kemper.
Yes.
Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
Angela Kinsley.
Yes.
Yes, Angela Kinsley. Ed Helms. BJ Novak. James Spader. Amy Ryan. Amy Adams. Paul Lieberstein. Craig Robinson. Michael Schur. Leslie David Baker. Ricky Gervais. Who else we got? I can keep going. David Cockner, Charles Eston, Will Ferrell, Kathy Bates, Jack Black was in it, Cloris Leachman was in it, Stephen Colbert was in it, and the one and only Lee Eisenberg, who actually wrote some episodes, is in it as well.
Also, Jim Carrey made an appearance.
Jim Carrey did make a cameo, and Ray Morano.
Yep.
Who else made a cameo? Was Bill Murray in it at one point?
I think so. Yeah.
Sure, let's say he is.
Let's say he is.
And man, no, this show is so good. It's the funniest show that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Until my number one. The Office is so quotable. Everyone loves The Office. I see Office stickers on people's laptops.
Beats.
Battlestar Galactica. Or Save Bandit. Wow. Lift me up. You're too heavy. I weigh 84 pounds. Yeah. Actually, Ashwin, why don't we talk about our favorite episode of The Office?
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. Wow, I forget the name of this one, but it's the heart attack episode, the two-parter.
Oh, Stress Relief.
Stress Relief, yeah. Stress Relief Part 1 and Part 2.
Is that season 5 or something?
Something like that.
Sure.
I think this is the episode that has blown up the most on the internet, or at least one of the top ones that has blown up the most on the internet. You have the classic CPR scene. I remember even, like, in a ton of my, like, first aid classes, everyone, like, uses this for reference. Like, the whole, like, staying alive thing, and they're like, oh, don't pull, like, a Michael Scott
It's true, though. That's actually how you do CPR.
That is how you do CPR, to the, staying alive.
That's actually how I was taught.
Not the first I was afraid, I was petrified. Yeah, I know. that was a great bit.
Yeah, man.
And also, yeah, you have, like, all the, like the whole fire situation too, and just Stanley just losing his crap, and just, like, he's thrown back into, like, this stressful cesspool of, like, of Dunder Mifflin Scranton, and he's just, like, trying to navigate, like, what battles do I fight, and he's just trying to keep his peace, and then he finally, like, blows up, and then Michael's like, oh shoot.
Yeah, this is season 5, episode 14 and 15, Stress Relief Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
These are definitely, like, I would group them together as just stress relief.
Yeah, that's fine.
Favorite story arc in The Office, and I think a lot of other people share that, or that same pick as well. Again, just so many quotable moments, and then even just having, like, Dwight just at his full Dwightness.
Yeah, with the fire drill.
And man, it's so good. It's so good. I can rewatch this all the time.
Yeah. My favorite episode is season 7, episode 22, which is called Goodbye, Michael. So this is the last episode. Oh, yeah, we'll call it the last full episode with Steve Carell as Michael Scott. Mm-hmm. But I love this episode just because how you don't really see emotional side of Michael Scott a lot, like with Steve Carell's character.
Yeah.
But in this episode, he's like, this is his family. And, like, he's leaving his family to go start another family with his future wife. And Steve Carell never won an Emmy for this performance.
I'm so upset.
And that's a crime. That's actually a crime.
Got gypped.
And the last scene with Pam, Jenna Fisher's character, hugging Steve Carell's Michael Scott, very iconic. I listened to the Office Ladies podcast, and I'm really excited to when they get to that episode. Because they're probably not going to tell us what Pam whispered in Michael's ear, but I'm excited to hear some behind the scenes stuff on that episode. I also really like Dinner Party. Dinner Party is a really fun one.
Yeah.
The most awkward episode, and Basketball, which is in season 1. Ashley, anything else about The Office?
I think, like, the episode you mentioned, the last one with Michael Scott, a lot of those emotions that the cast was feeling, and I think part of the reason it really sells is because they were genuine emotions, because the cast was so bonded on this show.
Yeah.
and Steve Carell, kind of, like they're like the arguably like the main person in the show was leaving, and people were just so distraught with what was going on. Like, I know John Krasinski even told a little bit of his behind the scenes.
Yeah,
of,
it was actually real crying. Like,
it was real
they
crying
were not
for
acting
him.
in that scene.
Yeah, it's awesome. And also just the whole dynamic. You can tell too that they just had a lot of fun filming this.
Yeah.
Like a lot of improv as well. If you've seen some of the cut scenes, like, there's a good reason they're cut, but they're also still so funny and they still feel like the show.
Yeah, the actors got a lot of, like, creative liberties in the show, with, like, ad-libbing and just, like, doing random things in the background, which I thought was really cool. And, yeah, that's why the show is so influential. Yeah.
We're talking, and if you haven't caught on, we're talking about the US version.
The US version, but the UK version is also really funny.
Yeah.
UK version came first, and that's what inspired The Office.
And Ricky Gervais, like, he's made a cameo in this one, but he's also put a lot of work into helping produce the US
and
one.
And write some
and
stuff
writing.
Too. Yeah.
So he's just an all-star for this as well.
Yes.
Yeah. We could talk about this show forever.
For a long time,
we could go into each episode, but
I think we should cut it off.
I think we should cut it off.
We need to get into our number ones. And Ashton, I want you to go. I want you to talk about your number one first, because I want to eat a pickle. Here's the pickle jar opening. Wait. Yeah, I love pickles. Wait, here. Listen to the pickle jar open. Oh, that was anticlimactic. That was barely anything. Oh well, Ashton.
This man just has a jar of
pickles.
Dill pickles on his desk.
Yes, Ashton, why don't you talk about that? I'm gonna eat my pickles.
You like your pickles,
dude? I'm hungry, man. Frick off.
Okay, so my number one pick. I think this is part of what makes me a nerd.
See, his number one show is very nerdy.
Yeah,
mine is not nerdy at all. Well, a little bit. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this show for me, it defined my childhood in a lot of ways, dude. Mm-hmm. I remember even in the early YouTube days, going online, seeing if I could find clips of this show, because I didn't own the seasons, we didn't have cable back then, and it was a mission to watch every single episode of this show, which I did as a kid, without actually watching it on TV. That show is the Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. So before you say, oh, you mean like the really like weird 2D animated one? No, I'm obviously talking about the 3D animated one. The one with Dave Filoni. No offense to like the older Clone Wars one.
What's so bad about the older Clone Wars?
Nat's giving me those eyes. They're great. Just didn't define my childhood.
You're talking about the Cartoon Network?
The cartoon.
Dude, those are so good!
They're good.
I would say that's better. Okay, never.
Hey.
Whatever. You know what? This is your pick. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so with the Clone Wars, everything about this show, from the character development to even just the individual story arcs that it's able to tell in the midst of this huge galactic war going on in the background. If you didn't know, this show takes place in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. In between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. What am I saying? And it showcases like the last words that Yoda spoke in Attack of the Clones, like we have entered the Clone Wars, or whatever.
Yeah.
It showcases the events of that, and it really redeems the prequels, I think, because it tells us that story of Anakin progressing into sort of this darker character, especially like if you contrast him at the beginning of the show and then nearing the end of the show. I think by season 3 he gets a lot darker. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the amount of crap he's been through in that war, and just all the emotions he's had with Padme, you can see how he would turn into Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. And also how close he's grown to the Chancellor. And also just like his dynamic with Obi-Wan as well. Like it just makes a New Hope even more emotional.
Oh yeah.
I would say. I also just really love like Ahsoka as well as a character. I know she was a little annoying earlier on, but she kind of really came into her own character. Yeah. And she's just such a badass, dude.
It's true. This is true.
I was so hyped in Mandalorian season 2 when she appeared in live action, and honestly, she's great. Also, just D. Bradley Baker does such an incredible job as the clones.
Yeah. It's one guy with all the
One
clones.
guy with all the clones. And it's so convincing, too. And eventually, like, they spun that off into the Bad Batch, which, I mean, I don't like quite as much, but to be fair, there's only one season.
Yeah.
It's so great. It feels like true Star Wars. This is also the last big Star Wars project that George Lucas worked on before he sold to Disney. And even when they rebooted season 7, they still got a lot of his input on what he wanted to do with the characters, even if it was more unofficial. And dude, like Dave Filoni, the guy who, like the showrunner for this show, he's just so great. He understands Star Wars. He gets us nerds.
Yeah.
He's a big nerd himself, and it's so nice to have someone like him in our corner. Honestly, like this show encapsulates my childhood. Just everything that motivated me to dress up, go in the backyard with my siblings, and have lightsaber fights. All the Lego sets I bought that were themed after the Clone Wars. Even like the video games. Like this was Star Wars for me growing up. And it just made my love for the whole franchise and the movies even like escalate to a bigger point. So good. I've actually even gotten a lot of my adult friends. I even got one of my friends' moms into the show now. Like
sick.
A lot. These stories are not kid stories.
No, they're not.
They're darker than your
It's really dark.
It gets really dark at a lot of points.
Yeah.
I think especially season 4 gets really dark.
Yes.
Season 7 especially. Oh boy. It's so good. Definitely watch this. Doesn't matter if you're a kid or adult. Watch this show. If you're a big Star Wars fan, you'll love it. And if you've been told crap about it, it's not true. Watch it.
No, would you say the show's better than the movies?
So I would say it does a better job explaining the wider Star Wars universe than the movies do.
Yes. Okay, I agree. I agree with that. That means you have more time to flesh out.
You have
things,
more time.
explain.
Exactly, yeah. And you have more time to flesh out like the impact of the Clone Wars, with all this galactic, all the galactic politics going on. Now, I would say Empire Strikes Back. I've mentioned this before. It's my favorite Star Wars movie. That to me, it just encapsulates what Star Wars is. This show is like definitely my favorite Star Wars TV show, and it expands Star Wars to such a great point where you just love everything about the franchise more.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So, for me, the Clone Wars is, I like Asher said, like, I watched this too. I actually had cable, so I was watching it every week. But, yeah, no, it's the character development so much better than anything in Star Wars, really. That's why the Star Wars TV shows, like The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, work so well, just because Star Wars is not something you can rush. Clearly, Disney did not get the memo and try to rush things. That's why I'm really looking forward to Obi-Wan, like the Kenobi series.
Yeah.
Because he's a very interesting character that you see in the Clone Wars, and he's just very fleshed out.
James Arnold Taylor, like the voice actor for him in the Clone Wars, like you could put him and Ian McGregor in the same room, they sound exactly the same.
It's amazing.
He's portrayed him also in a lot of the games and other like audiobooks and stuff as well.
Audiobooks, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh man, just so good. I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped to see what even Ian McGregor does with what James Arnold Taylor did in the Clone Wars with the Obi-Wan. Yeah. Anyway, that's a bit of a rabbit hole.
The hot take, the Cartoon Network version's better. It's better. It just is. I'm sorry, buddy. It does what like what? How many seasons of the? It does what 7 seasons does in 2 episodes. No, I'm kidding. It's. I just like the animation style better. No, it's not better.
Really cool.
But the Cartoon Network one is really cool. It's only 2 episodes, but the animation style is so much cooler.
I was about to smack this dude out of his whole dorm room.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Should we just? Well, let me say my favorite TV show of all time, and then we can wrap it up here. I like to lead things. I like to like hype things up. So here it is. This is my favorite TV show of all time. It's obviously a sitcom because I have a bunch of sitcoms on my top 10. And this is I started watching the show at the beginning, close to the beginning of quarantine, so that'd be like March. No, it would be January 2020. So I started watching the show when it came on Netflix. Actually, and I started watching the show a little bit on TV when they first came out, but I just didn't get any of the jokes, so I wasn't really like invested in the show. And no, this show is absolutely my favorite TV show of all time. Has some I quote the show a lot with a bunch of my friends here on dorms because they've seen it. Ashton, have you seen this show?
No, I haven't.
Dude, you gotta watch it. It's on Disney Plus now.
Okay.
And that show, dude, like I'm gonna get so much hate for saying this that this is my favorite TV show of all time.
Over the Office.
Over the
Clone Wars.
But this show's just more me, bro.
That's fair.
Like, oh man, that show's New Girl. Yes, New Girl. You guys heard me. New Girl. Dude, this show is okay. It has my humor. Like, it's very subtle comedy. Like, and not very much slapstick. It's so funny. It's so funny, man. Cast is Zoe Deschanel as Jessica Day, who is the New Girl. Jake Johnson, who you may know as Peter B. Parker in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Max Greenfield as Schmidt. He is my favorite character in any TV show. He is probably the funniest character I've seen, man. Dude, like, if you watch it, man, damn it, I can't find my driving moccasins anywhere. It's the funniest thing. Actually, I have driving moccasins. I actually bought driving moccasins because of the show. Hannah Simone, Lamone Morris, and that's a lot of like big guest stars. You got Megan Fox, David Walton, Lizzie Kaplan, Justin Long. Also has a little bit of like Office and like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia crossover with Mary Elizabeth Ellis, June Diane Raphael, and Nelson Franklin. It also has Chelsea Perfetti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in this. Jamie Lee Curtis, Caitlin Olsen, Rob Reiner. And actually, I found out today that one of the actors who was in New Girl actually passed away. Ralph Ahn, he died at the age of like 94?
Oh, dang.
95. He actually passed away a couple of days ago, but we found out this morning. So yeah. And yeah, no. So the reason why I love the show so much is because of Schmidt, Max Greenfield's character. The first episode hooks you in. And this show is set in Los Angeles and not in New York, where they all like hang out in one apartment. It's very, there's nothing new about it. There's really nothing new about this comedy, but it's the writing that, like, in the line delivery that makes everything so funny. Like, man. So, this is, I don't really laugh out loud when I watch TV. Like, TV shows by myself. But, like, I would. My mom's like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, I'm just watching a show. And I'll be watching this, like, 3 o'clock in the morning. I still be laughing out loud because it's just that funny. Zoe Deschanel does a great job as Jessica Day, who's the main character. She's good at emotional scenes. Actually, the whole cast is really good with emotional scenes. And I actually started listening to the New Girl podcast. Go figure. And they were saying that Zoe Deschanel was already written. The show was written for her. And I think that's a big thing when you have a show written for someone, and then you find like perfect supporting casts to like go around that person. It just makes writing everything super easy, and like this is one of the most underrated shows I think, comedy wise. I'm on the Reddit page for this, the subreddit for this, and people love the show. Like there's like such a big following. I think it especially got huge when I got put on Disney Plus. I wanted to buy the pop figures for this show, but they're like $60 each, and there's like 5 of them or 6 of them, and I'm like, no way.
Wedding gift.
Sure. If you buy me the whole set, and put it in a nice case, sounds good. Yeah, no, this show is my favorite of all time, just because of how funny it is, heartfelt moments, and oh man, I can quote this show all day long. Yeah, actually, I have a New Girl sticker on the outside of my door. Because a couple of girls put down dorms because they thought it was funny. It's Winston's character and a cat. Yeah, if you watch the show, you get that. But like, yeah, that is my favorite show of all time. Ashton, do you want to wrap it up here?
Yeah.
We're almost This episode's gonna be like hour 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Hour 10. No,
We've
hour
gone
10.
For a while.
Hour 10. Won't be 20.
Should we quickly reiterate what all of our favorite shows were?
Yes, you go. How about we do? Let's do honorable mentions too. So just say your honorable mentions and then give me your top 10.
Cool. So my honorable mentions in no particular order were Batman the Animated Series, The Ultimate Spider-Man, The Morning Show, Peacemaker, The Boys, Watchmen, Sherlock, Top Gear, Mandalorian, and Daredevil.
Okay, your top 10?
And my top 10 were, starting from number 10, Jessica Jones, Defending Jacob is number 9, Schitt's Creek is number 8, The Orville is number 7, Once Upon a Time is number 6, Letterkenny is number 5, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is number 4, How I Met Your Number, How I Met Your Number, oh boy, How I Met Your Mother as number 3, The Office is number 2, and Star Wars The Clone Wars is number 1.
The Cartoon Network version, right, Ashton?
No, it's a good one, but not as good.
I'm gonna keep roasting this kid about that. In my list, we have honorable mentions: Mythic Quest, Fleabag, Friends, Community, The Crown, Cobra Kai, Formula 1, Drive to Survive, Watchmen, Ted Lasso, and Gallivant. In my top 10, 10, Modern Love, 9, Yellowstone, 8, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, 7, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, number 6, Video Game High School, number 5, The Big Bang Theory, number 4, This Is Us, number 3, How I Met Your Number. Dang it! You got it in my head!
The same. Oh.
How I Met Your Mother, To The Office, and number 1, New Girl. I just want to say, I want to say we recommend these shows to a lot of people, but some of the shows are just not for certain people.
Yeah.
And please take it out with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Man, no, this was a really fun series to do. After the first episode, I mean, like the part 1, dude, we were just so drained.
We were so drained.
But I think this was a lot easier to talk about because I feel like figuring out 10 to 5 was really hard for us. But 4 to 1 is so much easier.
Oh, 100%.
Plus, we're caffeinated. We're man, I've been up since 8. But we're caffeinated, so it's good. Ashton, anything else? Should we talk about what we're doing next episode or something?
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about that.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Also, we're coming out with an episode with a couple of our friends, favorite actors and actresses. So it'd be our top 5 favorite male actors, top 5 favorite female actors. There might be some overlap. There might not be, but we'll see. Hey, that rhymes.
Oh boy.
Then we're gonna have a movies that make you cry podcast. We're men, we cry. Whatever. Who cares? And then we're watching Batman in 2 days. Matt Reeves' Batman with Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell. It's gonna be a good time.
The plan right now is to see it Thursday night, and then hopefully have something out Friday, the day it's like widely released.
Yeah. There's already a lot of a lot of reviews on YouTube, just because press and stuff. But we're not press. We're not big enough yet.
Not yet.
But even though if you like and follow and hit that sub button, if you're on YouTube, we could.
please.
Also, we want to get to Booth of Fat Next one next year. So
yeah.
Come hang out. Anything else?
I think I'm good.
I think we're good, guys.
We're good.
So until next time, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel.
Peace.